I love that you started with leadership because leadership is the foundation of everything, right? So people are like, hey, I want to be more profitable. I want my take home income to increase. I want to be more efficient because it feels chaotic in the dental practice and people are screaming down the halls for instruments, et cetera. It just doesn't feel professional. It doesn't feel efficient. Um, I feel as though our turnover is ridiculous. Like we're hiring 3 new people at all times. And there seems to be like this separation between front and back and between hygiene and front and between doctor and hygiene. And I think the foundation of everything is leadership. And if you can't establish yourself as a leader, then you can't be efficient. You can't be profitable. You can't have, a very, very strong, cohesive culture. So leadership is the baseline for everything. And I'm going to just go back to leadership just because if you set a good, solid foundation, everything else becomes easier. So back to leadership and my original contention that leadership, we're making it way more complicated than it needs to be. Leadership doesn't mean that you have to be super charismatic and that you have to be, light up the room with energy when you walk in or like a really good public speaker. That's not leadership. That's charisma. And it's helpful in leadership to be charismatic, but it's not absolutely necessary. Leadership is about just making sure that you're supportive and empathetic, but at the same time, you set exactly what your expectations are, set accountabilities for those expectations. You're checking in regularly. You're giving your team all the resources necessary to be successful. And you are very, very clear about what success looks like for every single position. Once you do that and you set those accountabilities in place, then you are a strong leader by definition. But there's a lot that goes into that. It's easy to say, difficult to do. But once you set those parameters and that framework for good leadership, everything else comes easy. So once you are a leader and you're adding those accountabilities for their primary roles and their primary responsibilities for their position, what you expect for them, what success looks like for their position, then it just becomes a matter of setting the systems up correctly. And that means that for this role, you're expected to do exactly this. And here is what that looks like for your position, for this position over here. And here's how you work together. Here's how you're going to be held accountable. Here's what good performance looks like versus lack of performance. That comes from regular performance reviews. That comes from clear definitions within the operations manual. All of those things have to happen. Efficiencies happen with good leadership. Culture happens with good leadership.